She was last seen smiling into the Arizona sun, a map folded under her arm and a promise to return in 3 days. But she never came back. For 10 agonizing years, her family woke up every morning wondering the same thing. Did she slip? Did someone take her? Or was the desert hiding something far worse? No trace. No suspects. Not a single clue, until a lone backpacker, miles off trail and hopelessly lost, stumbled onto something the authorities had missed for an entire decade. And what he found didn't just reopen the case. It changed everything anyone thought they knew about the Grand Canyon. Before going into this disturbing and emotional story, a quick reminder. If you love real-life mystery breakdowns and gripping missing person stories, please support the channel by tapping the like button, dropping a comment, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell so you never miss new uploads. Your support helps us continue bringing you these detailed investigations. Now, let's go back to 2014. Back to the moment a 29-year-old wildlife photographer named Elena Marek decided to hike the Grand Canyon alone. She wasn't reckless, she was experienced, athletic, and had explored more than 12 national parks by herself. Yet on that quiet spring morning, Elena walked into one of the busiest national parks in America, and simply disappeared. What followed was one of the most puzzling missing person searches the canyon had seen in years. But the truth behind Elena's fate wouldn't begin to surface until a decade later, when another traveler, unknowingly walking the same cursed path, encountered something so unsettling that authorities had to seal off an entire section of trail. This is that story. The morning she vanished, the park rangers noted nothing unusual. Cameras caught her entering the South Kaibab trailhead around 9:47 a.m. She wore a red hiking jacket, a khaki backpack, and a camera strapped to her chest. She looked excited, determined. Some said even peaceful. For Elena, photography wasn't just a hobby, it was her healing. 2 years earlier, she'd lost her younger brother Lucas in a car accident. They used to hike together, and after his death, she kept hiking because she said it was the only place she could still hear him. Her mother later told investigators, "The wilderness made her feel closer to him. She wasn't running away from life, she was trying to reconnect with it." On the morning of April 6th, Elena texted her family group chat. "Signal is bad here. I'll check in once I'm at Skeleton Point." It was the last message they ever got from her. When sunset came and Elena still hadn't checked in, her family assumed she lost signal. By the next morning, they were worried. By the second morning, they were terrified. Park officials launched a search immediately. Over 120 personnel spent days combing the trails. Helicopters scanned the canyon walls. Thermal sensors swept the area. And yet, absolutely nothing. No footprints. No abandoned gear. No camera. No clothing. Not even signs of struggle. It was as if the canyon had swallowed her whole. One ranger later described the case in a report as one of the cleanest vanishings in recent Grand Canyon history, which was far from comforting. As days became weeks, theories piled up. Some believed she slipped trying to get a better photo. Others claimed dehydration or heat stroke. A few insisted she may have chosen to vanish intentionally, something her family strongly rejected. "She would never do that," her father said. "She always came home." But then came the theory that changed everything. The off-trail stranger. A hiker from Flagstaff reported seeing a tall man in dark clothing far off any marked trail around the time Elena disappeared. He wasn't carrying any visible gear. He seemed to be watching people. Nothing came of it, but it stayed in the back of everyone's mind. By week 6, the official search ended. But Elena's family never stopped. Her parents made annual trips to the canyon. Her mother would hike parts of the trail and leave notes in small crevices, whispering, "In case she's still out there." By year 5, the canyon became a graveyard of unanswered questions for the Marek family. And by year 10, they accepted what they never wanted to. Elena was gone. But fate had one more chapter left to reveal. 10 years later, April 2024, 34-year-old solo traveler Marcus Holden visited the Grand Canyon on what was meant to be a simple 3-hour sunrise hike. Marcus was a software engineer from Oregon who hiked to clear his mind from burnout. He wasn't an expert, but he wasn't inexperienced either. At 11 a.m., a sudden dust storm rolled in, forcing hikers off the main trails. Marcus lost visibility. Then he lost the trail. Then, he lost his orientation entirely. After wandering for nearly an hour, he found himself in a narrow, rocky corridor not listed on any of the park's public maps. It wasn't a trail. It wasn't even a wash. It was something else. Marcus later described the place he stumbled into as a slit carved into the earth. The walls were jagged and narrow, the ground uneven. It didn't match any terrain he had studied before entering the park. The deeper he went, the quieter everything became. No wind, no birds, no echo. Just a silence so heavy it made him uneasy. At about 30 minutes in, he noticed something unnatural against the rock. Not stone, not roots. A piece of fabric, wedged between two boulders. He reached for it and pulled, revealing a torn outdoor jacket sleeve, the same faded red tone commonly sold to hikers. Marcus felt a chill. But that was only the beginning. Near the sleeve, faint impressions lined the ground. Not recent, maybe years old, but still sheltered enough by the canyon structure to remain intact. One set looked small, like a woman's hiking boots. Beside them, a larger set. He followed the prints deeper into the channel. Each step tightened his chest. Every instinct screamed for him to turn back, but something urged him forward. Curiosity, adrenaline, or maybe the silent fear that he'd find someone injured. The prints abruptly stopped at a dead-end wall. And that was when Marcus noticed it. A thin, unnatural line running vertically down the rock face. A seam. He placed his hand against it. The wall shifted. It wasn't a wall. It was a disguised opening. Marcus squeezed through the narrow opening and emerged into a concealed cavern barely tall enough to stand in. The air inside was cold and stale. His flashlight revealed a rusted metal lantern, a collapsed sleeping bag, empty water bottles pressed flat from time. Someone had lived here, hidden here, for at least a few days. As he moved deeper into the cavern, something reflective caught the corner of his eye. He aimed his light toward it. A camera lens. Old, dusty, but unmistakably a DSLR. The same model Elena was known to carry. Marcus froze. He picked up the camera, hands shaking. But as he did, his foot brushed against something half buried in dust. A notebook. When he pulled it free, the cover flaked away. But the first page still held clear handwriting. "If someone finds this, please tell my family I didn't run. E.M." Marcus backed into the wall, breath shallow. The journal belonged to Elena Marek. He flipped through trembling pages filled with short, frantic entries. Day 1, I think someone was watching me. He wasn't a hiker. He had no pack. Day 2, I can't find my way out. I hear footsteps outside the cave. Day 3, he's still here. Waiting. Day 4, I'm trying to stay awake. If I sleep, I don't think I'll wake up. Day 5, unfinished sentence. I hear him breathing through the... The ink cuts off abruptly. Marcus had uncovered what 10 years of searches missed. But Elena herself was nowhere in sight. Before Marcus could process what he found, a sound echoed behind him. A footstep. Not his. He turned. A tall figure stood at the cavern entrance. Dirty clothing. Sun-scorched skin. Eyes that looked hollow, yet aware. Marcus stumbled backward. The man said nothing, just stared at him with a cold, unsettling stillness. Marcus didn't wait to find out more. He bolted, squeezing through the narrow passage and sprinting across the channel, lungs burning. Behind him, he heard the man scream something incoherent, but Marcus didn't stop. He ran until he reached a main trail and collapsed near a group of hikers who immediately called for help. When rangers arrived, Marcus could barely get the words out. There's a cave, and someone's living in it. When Marcus reported the hidden cavern, the rangers didn't hesitate. Cases like this, especially involving a decade-old disappearance, triggered an immediate multi-agency response. Within hours, a team of 8 rangers, 2 investigators, and a tracking specialist assembled at the South Kaibab region. Marcus, still shaken, guided them to the approximate area but refused to go back inside the channel. He kept repeating one sentence. There's a man down there. He wasn't normal. The rangers entered the slit canyon with caution. Radios crackled in and out, signal already weakening, just as Elena had described in her journal entries. After 20 minutes, they found the jagged walls. After 30, they located the seam Marcus had described. The rangers pushed, and the disguised opening slid just enough to reveal the dark cavern. Flashlights swept the interior. They found the flattened sleeping bag, the rusted lantern, the bottles, and tucked in a corner, the notebook Marcus had reported. But the camera was gone. Whoever had confronted Marcus had returned and taken it. Rangers expanded their search deeper into the chamber. One of them noticed airflow coming from behind a rock pile. After clearing debris, a second exit was discovered, opening toward a steep, dangerous drop. The implication was chilling. Someone had been using this cave system for years, entering, exiting, watching hikers, and disappearing without trace. The tracking specialist found fresh prints of large boots leading out the secondary exit. They followed them for nearly 2 miles, but the prints vanished across hard slick rock. Whoever the man was, he knew the canyon better than most. When the notebook was removed from the cave and delivered to investigators, they performed a page-by-page inspection. Inside the back cover was something Marcus hadn't seen. A thin SD card, taped into the binding. It was the type used in high-quality cameras. When analyzed, it contained 6 short video clips filmed by Elena during her last hours. The footage was never released to the public due to its disturbing content, but investigators summarized what they saw. Clip 1. Elena speaking to the camera, breath shaky, saying she believed someone had followed her off-trail. Clip 2. Distant movement behind rocks. Clip 3. Elena running, whispering, "He won't stop." Clip 4. The cave interior, her voice saying she was hiding. Clip 5. Heavy footsteps outside the cave entrance. Clip 6. Elena pointing the camera toward the seam, then gasping as a shadow moved across it. No 7th clip. No ending. Just silence. One investigator later wrote privately, "She knew she didn't have much time left." Rangers circulated the physical descriptions Marcus provided. Malnourished. Dark. Weathered clothing. Barely any gear. Unstable demeanor. He didn't match any missing person report. He didn't match any worker. He didn't match any known hermit living offland. But there was one possibility. The canyon has long whispered stories of isolated individuals living miles off-trail, surviving on stored water, hidden caves, and stolen supplies. Rangers occasionally encountered remnants of illegal campsites, usually abandoned quickly. But never had this phenomenon overlapped with a missing person case. Until now. Some began to suspect the man had not only been living in the canyon for years, but had been there long before Elena disappeared. 2 days after Marcus' report, a ranger located another hidden trail near the cave system, a faint path leading around a rock formation. At the base of a narrow ridge, he found something shocking. A cache of items buried under stones, including old food wrappers, a canteen, a torn hiking map, a cracked pair of prescription glasses, and a broken bracelet identified by Elena's mother as belonging to Elena. This confirmed it. Elena had made it out of the cave at least once. She had attempted to escape, and the person living there had taken her belongings. The canyon finally gave up part of its secret, but not the whole truth. Investigators needed Marcus, not just because he'd found the cave, but because he'd seen the man who had likely chased Elena 10 years earlier. Marcus agreed to sit for a detailed sketch session. The resulting image showed a gaunt man with deep-set eyes and stringy, dark hair. At first, nothing came up. Then a retired ranger contacted authorities, claiming the sketch resembled a drifter seen near the canyon as far back as 2007, someone who camped illegally, stole supplies, and vanished into the wilderness whenever approached. He was never identified, never arrested, never tracked. Some believed he may have been mentally unstable, living wild for over a decade. If that was true, Elena may have been one of several who crossed his hidden path. All evidence pointed to the same conclusion. Elena encountered the man somewhere off the main trail. She panicked and fled. He pursued her into the narrow channel. She hid in the cave, writing her journal entries as fear and exhaustion took over. At some point, she attempted escape and left the cave through the secondary exit. Something happened after that escape attempt. But without remains, without a final recording, investigators still couldn't say how her life ended. And that left one final question. One no one wanted to ask. Was the man still out there, watching hikers the same way he watched Elena? After the discovery of the hidden cave, the National Park Service took unprecedented action. Sections of the South Kaibab Trail were closed indefinitely while authorities conducted a thorough sweep. Signs were posted warning hikers. Caution, area under investigation. Stay on marked trails. For the first time in decades, the park admitted publicly that someone may have been living off-trail, preying on unsuspecting hikers. The news spread quickly. Local media and online forums exploded with speculation. Some called it a miracle Marcus survived. Others feared for anyone daring to explore the Grand Canyon alone. Elena's family watched the news with mixed emotions, relief that the truth was partially uncovered, and despair that it could never bring her back. Investigators carefully studied every page of Elena's journal. Each word painted a harrowing picture of her final days in the canyon. Days filled with fear of being followed. Nights spent hiding in caves with only dust and cold air for company. Attempts to find water in small rock pools. Moments of hope, like spotting birds or hearing distant voices, followed by despair. Her handwriting grew erratic, showing the physical and emotional toll she endured. By analyzing ink and paper wear, experts estimated she survived at least a week in the hidden channel, maybe longer. One sentence stood out to investigators. If anyone finds this, I want them to know I never gave up. I fought. It was both heartbreaking and heroic. Authorities intensified the search for the man Marcus had encountered. They combed surrounding trails, conducted aerial reconnaissance, and even set up motion-detecting cameras. Weeks passed with no sightings. Some cameras picked up wildlife. Others captured fleeting shadows, but nothing conclusive. Investigators theorized he knew the terrain so well he could move silently and avoid detection entirely. The canyon, with its labyrinth of hidden paths, seemed to be his kingdom. Even more chilling, some experts speculated that Elena might not have been his only target. The cave system could have been used to watch hikers for years, waiting for the right moment. Though physically unharmed, Marcus struggled emotionally after the encounter. He reported nightmares of the Shadow Man, hearing footsteps behind him even when he was home. Sleep became difficult. Hiking, once his escape, now terrified him. He later admitted, "I keep thinking about Elena. What she felt. I don't know if I'd have made it like she did." Marcus' discovery, while heroic, carried a heavy personal toll. His story reminded the world that even experienced hikers are vulnerable when venturing off-trail. Elena's parents, now in their late 50s, finally faced the most difficult part: closure without answers. They organized a memorial at the canyon rim, inviting friends, hikers, and anyone who had been touched by the story. Tears mixed with stories of Elena's passion for photography, her adventurous spirit, and her relentless courage. Her father said during the ceremony, "We may never know exactly what happened, but we know she fought, and we will never forget her." Her mother added, "If her story warns someone else to stay safe, then maybe this nightmare can save another life." As months passed, the cave remained under surveillance. No new sightings occurred. The Shadow Man seemingly vanished once again, leaving only his traces: the journal, the torn jacket, the memory of a terrified woman who refused to give up. Elena's story became a cautionary tale. Hikers were reminded to stay on marked trails, travel in groups, and never underestimate the vastness and secrecy of the Grand Canyon. Yet, somewhere within the winding cliffs and hidden channels, the canyon kept its secrets. The man who stalked its hidden paths might still be out there, waiting silently for the next traveler who strays off-trail. The story of Elena Marek and the backpacker Marcus Holden leaves a haunting truth. The wilderness can heal. It can inspire. But it can also hide the unimaginable. Some questions never get answers. Some stories never find endings. But courage, hope, and the will to survive leave a mark long after the echoes fade. The Grand Canyon, majestic yet merciless, will always remember those who wander too far into its secrets. And some secrets are better left undisturbed. If you found Elena's story as chilling and emotional as we did, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment letting us know your thoughts. Every click supports bringing more real-life mysteries to light, and perhaps keeps us safer when we explore the unknown.